Okay, today's topic is student debt. I believe our form of government is the greatest form of government that has ever been established. Now, I can't say the same thing for the politicians we elect, as most quickly go from representing their constituents to representing themselves. Now, this is nothing new, but on the financial side of our government, it has become such a fucking disaster that even these selfish, self serving, they're smarter than the voters mentality is starting to get some pushback. Some. I believe we are at or very close to having an unsustainable debt that will never be paid back. I have never said that in the past, but now we are consistently borrowing extra, but it ain't to buy a pack of gum. In fiscal year 2022, the tyrannical congressman borrowed $1.4 trillion just to meet their current payables. I mean, obviously, the $4.9 trillion in income we collect just isn't enough, and addressing cutting of any type of spending is off limits to both parties. So fuck it. Just tell the Fed not to turn off the printing presses and let's just keep borrowing. Again, we're not talking borrowing extra money to fight Thanos, another completely overreacting pandemic, etc. No, not for those. The extra 1.4 trillion is to pay for all of the extra horseshit from whatever bills Congress approves then pays. Let me tell you something. Our current interest payment, just interest alone, is $663 billion a year. Let me repeat that. We pay $663 billion a year in interest. In 2024, it will be $745 billion. At our current rate, in 10 years, it'll be $1.4 trillion a year in interest payments. Yep, this is our do nothing, well, except spend Congress. Anyway, let me get back on topic. In my opinion, the worst business deal in the history of the United States was NAFTA. I'll probably do a video on NAFTA, so I won't go into too much detail today. But NAFTA is so bad that I gave it the first, second, and third worst financial deals. And there wasn't anything even close until now. Obamacare. Obamacare on its own may eventually move into the third spot, but you want to know what else in this horrendous and horrific horseshit Obamacare legislation? Student loans. Yes, student loans was also in that horseshit legislation. Lots of people didn't know that our brilliant leaders added this shitty and damning bill that affects a large portion of our society. Why was this even being addressed? What was needed or changed for higher education that could have not have been fixed with this horrendous bill? What specifically needed fixed? Were hundreds of thousands of Americans not being able to go to college because of finances? Why did the government feel the need to take over financially our university? I want to be perfectly clear, in case any politician happens upon this video, that there was no other options for potential college students to pay for school except the brilliant idea of having the federal government back all student loans. Just fucking genius. Before I get too critical, maybe Congress had some intelligent, non-bureaucratic way to fix whatever they deemed a problem. Maybe the government took over student loans so they could lower tuition and make it more affordable. Maybe this will allow more Americans the opportunity to go to college. Or maybe it will help with lowering student housing, food, books, right? Even if they could do these things, I personally still wouldn't want our government involved with student loans, but at least the public may actually benefit. Regardless, the question still remains the same. Why do you think they did this? Let me help you out here. I think they passed this shitty law because they're fucking morons. No need to read any more into it. Student loan debt is currently around $1.8 trillion. $1.8 trillion. Because of that dumbass Obamacare law and the fucking idiots in Congress who felt the need for another governmental program, there's $1.8 trillion of debt with absolutely no chance, none, to be able to get paid back. Furthermore, they just can't get under control. I mean, it's just 15 minutes after this debacle was passed, the cranes, the electricians, concrete companies, etc., were raring to go, as the university was already pissed of a shit bill was going to pass. And why, you ask, did all the engineers already have plans ready to go and the university presidents walk around with 24-hour bonus for a month? Simple. As soon as the universities knew the government was going to back all student loans, voila, they knew that they would start jacking up the price of tuition. Think about it. The government is going back all student loans. What do you think the universities were going to do? Lower the price of tuition, room and boards? If you started school after 2010, you got fucked. And just like the great healthcare coverage we once had that was extremely affordable and covered pretty much everything, as soon as those assholes in Congress allowed the changes to student loans, it quickly, and I mean instantly, went into the toilet. By the way, as of 2023, there are 25.7 million Americans without any health care coverage in the U.S. That's right, 25.7 million. Remember the lies upon lies upon lies about how we needed everyone to have health care, and there will be fines on individuals who aren't signed up, and how we had to completely redo our entire healthcare system to make sure everyone was covered. Well, again, it was a lie. So, congratulations to all of you dumbasses in Congress who voted for this horse shit. You got the number down to 25.7 million that are still uncovered. You only did it in 13 years, though. Congratulations. And in 2023, most states only have 2 or 3 insurance carriers for their entire state. That's competition. The total number of blatant lies it took to become the second worst U.S. governmental business decision of all time is just astounding. We were force-fed premiums not going up, lie. Keep your doctors, lie. Better coverage, world-class, lie. And everyone would be covered. Unbelievable lie. And premiums being lowered, the biggest lie. Well, if we pay off our bloated deductible, first, premiums will go down. Yay. Pay off $8,000 to get shitty care and everything is out of pocket. Thanks, Congress. You guys are always looking out for us. Well, again, at least everyone's covered as long as it's the bill would have read everyone is now covered plus or minus $25.7 million 13 years later. Then Congress had the nerve, the balls, to laugh in our faces and mock us by passing their own separate healthcare plan for themselves. Congress does this kind of shit all the time, but this is a top 10, quote, let them eat cake moments in the history of Congress. They knew the legislation was dog shit. All right, back on topic. As bad, shitty, derelict, and moronic bill that the Healthcare and Education Reconciliation Act of 2010, it's the second part of the bill that seems like most need to be educated on. When the healthcare bill passed, so did the education bill. Now our government will be backing student loans. What a brilliant and well thought out idea. Again, how quickly do you think it took every university president to raise tuition and to have cranes ready on their campuses to add new buildings? Think about it. The second worst bill in U.S. history gets passed, so someone's got to benefit, right? And all of those smiles from our congressmen, slaps on the backs, attaboys, is never reflected to those fucking clowns who voted for this shitty bill. There should be repercussions. Okay. Back to us getting fucked over in higher education. As soon as that law passed, college education as we knew it was gone. It may have the same number of pupils, but they're graduating with a debt most will not be able to ever pay back. The U.S. has led the world in colleges and universities, and by a lot, but it's just not sustainable anymore. Since it's our money, we want to know how the government plans to collect our money. The current student loan debt is $1.77 trillion in total, with the government's amount being owed $1.63 trillion, and average amount per student is roughly $29,000 debt. We want our money. You fucking morons agreed to use our money to spend on a college education, but I can't find the part about collecting our money that you had no right to spend. 92% of all student loans are now owned by the U.S. Department of Education. And since 2010, what has Congress done to address this? Nothing. It's not like you idiots can't fix laws that's been passed before. Just fix it. The intentions were there. It's not working. Fix it. We are voting for do-nothing morons, period. There are almost 44 million students who owe money for college right now. I'm going to give you an example. I'll use the school that I'm most familiar with as an example, the Ohio State University. In 2009, before the debacle was passed, Ohio State's in-state tuition was $16,815. Currently, the Ohio State University in-state students graduating in 4 years will expect to be invoiced for $120,740. That's $30,185 a year in-state. You add the monstrosity number of in-state tuition, my God. In 13 years, tuition has almost doubled. Because of this complete asinine move by our government, let me highlight a few things that are basically being eliminated. One, liberal art degrees. Who on earth is going to attend college for 4 or 5 years as a poli-sci major and owe $120,000? Liberal arts has been basically a feeder program for teachers in the U.S. In the coming years, we're going to have a teacher shortage, and then you know what happens. Well, teachers will ask for more money, and then we'll have to go find more money. Two, we are eliminating the medical field for U.S. citizens. It costs a few $100,000 to become a doctor, dentist, pharmacist, vet, etc. You want to know how those fields will be employed? Foreigners. I personally don't give a shit who my doctor and dentist are as long as they're competent. And by the way, I currently have three various doctors, and they're all foreign. My point is, we are not making ourselves relevant on the world stage because who the fuck wants to commit to themselves to 8 to 12 years of study to have a few $100,000 in debt? It's just asinine. And what timing for a university president? And I want to repeat this one more time. If our government is going to back all student loans, the universities are going to continue to jack up tuition. And why not? Each student that walks into their school is either going to pay for maybe 1 year $30,000, 2 years $60,000, or $120,000 for 4 years. Don't get me wrong. I mean, not everyone qualifies for a government-backed loan. There is criteria an 18-year-old will need to have in order to qualify for $120,000. Here they are. You need to be a U.S. citizen. You have to have a social security card. And you need to have graduated with a 2.0 or higher, unless, of course, you have special circumstances. Then you'll qualify. I point out these qualifications as I don't want to come across as these are easy to achieve. I mean, why would the government stand in the way of every student having $120,000 plus in student loans for a fucking undergraduate degree? And if you're going for any graduate school, I will just say this, good luck. Look, it's the government. They have endless amounts of money. Come on, aren't we just investing in our own future anyway? A lot of people were very upset when Biden proposed certain cuts to college students. Yes, if you started after 2010, you got fucked. However, the federal money is paid into by all Americans, and I just don't see, constitutionally speaking, how you'll get 1 cent back unless everyone who has ever paid off their student loans gets reimbursed too. By the way, if you're paying with your own money through private financing, I think you have a legitimate gripe because tuition has been artificially raised. And what about those students? And there's lots of them who left before graduating. You know, you put in 1 to 3 years and just decide it wasn't for you. No problem. You got 6 months before you owe, your 1,000 to 2,000 plus a month where your bill starts up. Again, pick any university you want, as they are all basically the same. Here are some statistics from the Ohio State University regarding school revenue. Total revenue in 2009 for Ohio State was $4.5 billion. Total revenue in 2023 is $9.1 billion. Here is a statistic from a lending company, SoFi, who does a lot of school lendings. SoFi, again, a company who would definitely know student borrowing costs, shows a 4-year in-state degree at OSU is currently at $120,740, and out-of-state tuition for 4 years is $217,688. SoFi also states the national average for a 4-year undergraduate degree is $111,760. These numbers are going to get worse. If a bill is passed and it's proven to be shit, again, just fix it. No finger pointing, no blaming. Understand, good intentions originally. Fix it. This fucking bill needs fixed. NAFTA needs fixed. Obamacare needs fixed. Fix it. What the fuck do people do all day? Unless you clowns are in the middle of voting on a war, you have the time to fix these 3 shitty, broken, worthless laws. And these 3 shitty, broken, worthless laws are costing trillions upon trillions of dollars annually. Put down your pencils and get it fixed. I'll never understand these idiots. Every one of them, they know these laws are littered with flaws, and they do nothing about it. Not a fucking thing. There's nothing, 0 bills that they're currently working on that's even close to the importance of these 3 bills getting fixed. Nothing. I think it was the 111th Congress was the one who passed the Obamacare and the Education Act. So to the 111th Congress, we thank you. We thank you, all of us. Thank you for putting us in debt. And what did you guys get out of it? Nothing. All right. I could go on for days. I'm done with this. Thanks. Bye.